the first thing we're going to build will be the actual box. Taking the long sides apart, this side and that side, we're going to be left with the one end and the other end. We're going to need little trusty Legos. I use the jumbo, and we're going to need some glue. Now you put the glue to the one side. Now this is going to be painted, so because it's not wood, I'm not too concerned with glue spillage. And you put some on the other end. Going to take one of the ends and you're going to butt right up against it like this. Okay, take the other end and you're going to butt right up against the other side. Now this is being built on paper, so I'm going to move this out of the paper. Got a little excess glue, move it out. It's especially important if you're doing a wood model, but this one is actually a chipboard kit, so it's not, which will be painted, so it's not as crucial. And then you're going to make sure it's nice and square there. Square meaning that it's nice flat up against the one side, flat up against the other side. Take the other side. I love these jumbo blocks. And okay, let's do it this way. And then you do the other side. So now, ideally, you should leave that alone for a little bit until the glue dries. There you go. So let's pretend it's dry. You're not going to do that. You're going to let it dry. And I'm going to flip it over to the one side. I'm going to apply glue to the one edge all around. Glue on that side. You take one of the long pieces, doesn't matter which side, and you are going to put it right on there. Flip it over, and you're going to make it nice and tight. Flip over to the other side, like that one. Let's do it this way, and that side. So now you have glue. So now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. And now you're going to take the other side and you're going to plop it on top. You have now just created your box. Flip it over. Again, making sure that it's nice and tight. You're pressing it down as well. And this side, and then flip this over to the other side. Let's see, maybe this side like that. That's why I like these, because they're so interchangeable. There you go. And now you have this side. And to make sure that it's nice and even on the top, press it down. There's one more thing you need to do for the box, and that is to put in these little inserts. This is where the tray is going to be resting. So to make sure that it sits there and it rests nice, I've included 2 bits of the same chipboard, and you are going to place it on the inside. And that has got to be one of the easiest bits to do. You are simply going to apply glue to one of the bottoms. This is just a throwaway. So now I'm going to put it inside this bit. It's going to go on one side. Press it right down. To take the other one, there's one on each side, do the bottom, do the That's that side. So now you have side complete. Now you're going to do the top. For the top that I have done here is using stir sticks. But I'm also going to show you how you can use a different method. So for that, you're going to need the 4 pieces just to get the basic shape done. And you're going to apply glue to both ends. One end here. And work fairly quickly because this material does absorb glue. The long edge always on the outside, just like it was for the box. The long edge is the outside. The short edge becomes on the inside. So on the outside, you are going to glue this to that, to the inside, and let's put the other side on here, the other end. Okay, as close as you can to the edge, and you now have that. Give it a little squeeze just so that your glue can take hold. As you can see, it's very wobbly, so it's not set at all. Let's make sure it's not going to move too much. Okay, and then you again take your 90-degree, whatever you're using, to keep it into a 90-degree angle. And this one is not as easy as the top of the box because there isn't a lot of area for gluing. You can place it on top very carefully. On top of, here we go, on top of your box. To do this top, the easiest way I found was to take a couple of bits of tape, side up, tape it down in about roughly the size, the long size of the top. Now, then you're going to take all your pieces and I would say line it up with one of the edges. I'm lining it up here with the top edge. This is wood, so you may choose to want to stain it before. I don't, as I've explained before. I prefer to stain my projects afterwards. Or if you're going to paint, and you're going to line them all up evenly on one end. The other end is not going to be exactly right on, because that way I've given you a little bit of extra on the one side, so that in case your gluing isn't exactly right on, then you have a little bit of extra to play with. But for this, you need to make sure it's even on one end and the excess will be on the other end. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven pieces is what it takes. Instead of trying to center a piece and then lining it up on either side, I found that this is the easiest way. So then you're going to continue and put 7 pieces all along the one edge. I mean, if you go off a little bit, you can always sand it down on either side, as I have done when the project was all glued in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here's the 7th. Okay, so this will give you the dimension of your top. So now that we have all the pieces together, now that it's pretty well dry, I'm going to generously apply glue. I left this open, so it's now dried up on me. Apply glue to the top, to the round top. Okay, like this. So now that that's done, I will remove the tape from my work surface, which is easy enough. Now this has not been glued here together, so it's pretty much being held on by the tape. Take it, and you're going to the side that you have that's nice and evenly done. If you find that one kind of slipped, just go back, and you're going to apply it to evenly to the one side. Let me see if I can show you here. Start it off, and you're going to now use, see how it's nice and even here? Use the tape to tighten it down. This helps you glue it down to the bottom. On this side you have a little extra. Don't worry about it. Again, even it out. It goes from one end to the other. And you're going to use that tape to tighten it down. So there it is. Put it on one end. This side, you have a little excess, but that's okay because you're going to be able to cut that off. I just use nice little sharp pliers. You know, I use my work surface to help me a lot with projects, so press it down, and now it won't move. Leave it here for a bit until it's set. When you remove the tape, if you feel that it's hasn't really adhered, from the underneath, from this side, apply glue. Once dry, I removed the tape, and then I took my blade, which is very sharp, and I cut the excess on both sides. But what you can also do is take some sandpaper or your emery board and sand it down so that it's nice and even. I also sanded the little bits around to finish it off. That. Now on the top, the reason I like this is because I like to see the wood sort of aged, because this is what I'm kind of going for, this little aged trunk. So there are some spacing in there, but what you can do is you can also sand this off so that it becomes nice and even. There's some spaces, and remember, we're going to be putting these straps on here, so a lot of that is going to be hidden. So I sanded it down as much as I thought I needed to. And then we're going to take it to the next step and put the finishing touches. But, all right, that's one of the methods that you can use to do the top. I've made another one of these bases. I thought I'd show you how I would do if you didn't want this look of the wood strips. I showed you this. So this is actually quite easy. You basically give it your shape so that it remembers it has a nice curved shape, and you then making sure you're then apply glue liberally, because this time definitely you're not going to be staining, you're going to be using paint. I have some masking tape ready to tape it down. Turn it upside down, and you might want to even it off on one end or just center it on your piece of cardstock. Take your clamps. I use tape a lot. Some people like clamps. For this, you really have to make sure, if you're going to use clamps, that your glue is dry on your base piece. Otherwise, you are going to mess up. I'm going to use some clamps, and then I'm going to use some tape as well. So basically what you're trying to do is make sure that the glue is hitting it. Now, if you use tape on this material, it will, it will damage the paper if you use very, very tacky. I use painter's style tape, which has very low tackiness. You don't want to take chances with the gluing on this because you only have one shot at it. So I'm going on the corners. Here's another corner. So once that is finished, once that is dry, you're going to come along and you're going to cut very close into this. So you're basically going to be cutting very close the edge where it has been glued together. Okay, I'll come back when this is nice and dry, and I'll show you what else happens with it. Take off all your clamps. It's actually dried overnight, and peeling away gently, okay, from the inside out, always from the inside out. If you start from here to there, you will peel layers of this cardstock. It's just the way it works. So put it on your cutting board, cut right along, as I mentioned to you. Cut right on the edge. Now, if you have a nice pair of scissors, you can also do that. Right along the edge. Now, the beauty of this is that you can also sand it down close enough. Okay, there you go. And that's done with the cardstock as opposed to the wood. I still prefer the wood. That was my original plan for this project, so I do still prefer the wood. And here we are, the three that I prepared as I was doing this video. Sometimes I do that so that I don't have to wait for it to dry between steps. And this is the one that I just showed you on how to use the cardstock to do the top. My preference is still the one with the wood. I will be back to show you how I finish off. Some will be painted. I will also show you how to apply the corner pieces. Here you go, corner pieces, hinges, and locks, handles as well on the side. So for now, thank you for watching. Don't forget to come back, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can get notified for my next upload. Should be coming up very soon. Bye for now.